Fields of beautiful winter wheat ripening in the Pennsylvania summer as we head into the summer months, spring coming to an end. And this agricultural bounty that is America, with our lush soils, well-watered surfaces, reminds me of the multiple challenges facing our friends in South Africa as this unfolds. South African farmers are facing a number of unprecedented assaults on their very livelihood at this time in 2026. A perfect storm of instances happening across South Africa, unprecedented rains hitting much of the country, leading to many people having to deal with floods in the Eastern Cape, in the Western Cape, in Limpopo, other parts of the country, which is aggravating some of the circumstances South African farmers are facing today. The floods. In addition to that, the conflict in Iran has driven up the price of petrol, which farmers rely on for their tractors and their farm equipment and for running milking machines and things like that. In addition to that, the cost of fertilizer has skyrocketed. This is another issue for South African farmers, the increasing cost of fertilizer, which are necessary to replenish fuels. So floods, fuel, fertilizer. On top of that, now the years-long foot and mouth disease, long neglected by South Africa's Department of Agriculture under ANC ministers and botched by the Democratic Alliance Minister, John Steenhuisen, is further exacerbating the pressures on South African farmers. And one further note I should add to that challenge for South African farmers, of course, is President Trump's global tariffs, reciprocal tariffs on countries around the world. The first batch was mysteriously declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, which made no sense whatsoever, given that the president was simply following the law. The law should have been declared unconstitutional, not the president's actions. But he has now come back with Section 301 for labor exploitation, which is allowed, and this is likely to stand, which will lead to a 12.5% tariff against countries like South Africa. That seems to be in the offing. Despite the fact that mysteriously South Africa still qualifies for the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, which to me is quite bizarre, despite that, South Africa is likely to face these tariffs. And this would be crippling or devastating to the South African agriculture industry. Of course, we know that citrus and wine are major exports to the United States, and these things could be hampered by tariffs. So between foot and mouth disease, fertilizer, fuel, floods, that's the 3 Fs, and tariffs, South African farmers are facing major challenges to their livelihood. As I said, as we go into summer now, the winter wheat, which you can see here on the screen, above my knees, because it's time for winter wheat to be maturing. You can see it's come up quite high here, above my knees. But the corn, the maize, will soon be shooting up as well. The old phrase, knee high by the 4th of July, and corn or maize currently is just a couple of inches off the ground, but it will begin growing like banshees here very soon in central Pennsylvania as our agriculture booms. But make no mistake, whether it's in South Africa or it's here in Pennsylvania, agriculture is always a business fraught with far too many challenges. Whether it's Mother Nature and the weather, it's banks, it's economic events, it's political events. So for instance, all the farmers in America who grew soybeans last year got screwed because the trade tariff tensions between China and the United States. And therefore, China quit buying soybeans and left a lot of people with a lot of stock. Many things, many factors outside the control of farmers affect their livelihood. So if you don't live on a farm, if you don't have a farm background, you don't have family who are in farming, take a moment and think about our farmers out there. Everyone faces challenges in life, but few face the complex challenges that farmers face. My conversation earlier today with Theo de Jager from SAAI, the Southern Africa Agriculture Initiative, that deals with farmers in multiple countries across the Southern African Development Community region. We talked about some of these challenges, and those things are not trivial. So, farmers put food on our table. They really do. You may cook it, but it had to get there somehow, whether a rancher raised that sheep or that cow, or that dairy farmer milked that cow and somebody made butter and cheese out of it, or these amber waves of grain, which is where that comes from our wheat fields when they turn golden. All of this is a consequence of farmers looking out for your well-being. Farming is underappreciated. On this Friday, the 5th of June, I ask that you take a moment and think about your farmers out there and about the challenges they face. And we wish all of our friends in South Africa who are in the farming community the very best, whether they're non-traditional farmers, starting farmers, or long-established commercial farmers, or simply long-existing family farms. It's not easy. And from these amber waves of grain, which are still green for today, but will soon be a matter of a couple weeks as it turns golden, we wish you the very best. God bless.